Can I just say that it is kind of funny watching from up here, watching when we do things a little bit differently and out of order, that everyone turns to each other and kind of chuckles a little bit and says, what? The sermon isn't coming after the gospel? Anyway, that's a side note. Do we have any musical buffs in here? Any? 1, half, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5? Okay, all right, awesome. So if I were to sing, Hosanna, hey, Zanna, 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 ho, Zanna, hey, Zanna, Hosanna. Anybody know what it's from? Jesus Christ Superstar, absolutely. It's a musical combining the life of Jesus and song from the 70s. It's beautiful, it's hippie, it's awesome. But in this scene, while they're singing this song, we have our Palm Sunday. We have a beautiful scene of people waving palms, singing this tune, Hosanna, hey, Zanna, 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 ho, laying down their clothes, welcoming this king, welcoming what it is about to bring. While we have these people celebrating, partying, waving their palms, we also have the powers that be. So as they sing their hosannas, we have a guy over here. I don't like this crowd. It's far too loud. If you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about. 1970s, this guy sounds kind of like a frog, meaning he's got to be evil, right? So we've got this celebration, we've got this party, and we've got the powers that be that aren't so sure about it. Today we join in their celebration. We join the welcoming of a king. We join in their song, Hosanna, hey, Zanna, 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 ho, as we walk into the city. There's something powerful about processions, isn't there? Something beautiful about crowds of people moving together in unity. Often in journeying in the same cause, moving together towards the same goal, unity of mission, and often unity of emotion. We see this celebration of this entrance even though Jesus knew what was to come. Hosanna, hey, Zanna, 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 ho. We sing, we dance, we celebrate the life and teachings of this man. But is this celebration short-lived? Jesus knows that this is his funeral procession. We see this in the Matthew 26 text. He says, but all of this has taken place so that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Jesus knew this was coming. As I'm envisioning the scene and I'm envisioning it from the eyes of Jesus, knowing that ultimately this place of Jerusalem would be the place that he would be condemned and put to death, I imagine it like a funeral procession through the streets of New Orleans. Those of you who maybe haven't been to New Orleans before, I haven't, but I watch YouTube videos, so I have now. There are amazing things called jazz funeral processions. When a person who worked for the city or worked for the state, or maybe a high-ranking official passes away, they celebrate with amazing music, with colors, with people moving down the streets in the same direction, celebrating the life of this person. Jesus knew that this was his funeral procession, and the people had no idea. Today we celebrate a king that we wanted Jesus to be. A king that would overthrow the empire, a king that would end the persecution that the powers of the time had put in place. A king that would lead the procession of protest and change into Jerusalem. However, hosannas quickly turned to scorn, to doubt, to desertion, to watching from a distance as this man of pure love is turned over to the powers of our world. There is beauty in crowds. There is transformative energy in processions. There's also danger. In undergrad, I was a psych major. And there's a sociological and psychological phenomenon known as the mob mentality or the herd mentality. Anybody heard of this before? It's pretty widely known. This phenomenon is defined as one person's actions or an individual's actions or behaviors being influenced by the crowd that is around them. A procession that turns the other way due to the mentality of the crowd. Below that mob mentality, there's also another phenomenon called the bystander effect. And in this effect, when there is a victim in a crowd of people watching this happen, nothing gets done. No one helps. We see this evident in the text as well as Peter follows from a very safe distance. Jesus is in the hands of the powers. He is captured. He is brought into the house of Caiaphas, and Peter watches it from a distance. This creates an interesting shift for the week. Hosanna, 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 ho. He has come. And then our procession takes on a different tune. I want Jesus to walk with me. I want Jesus to walk with me. But do we always want to walk with Jesus on this journey? What does that mean for us in our lives? In Matthew 26, we also see that the disciples fled when it came to this time. It reads, "But all this has taken place so that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples deserted him and left." The disciples desert Jesus, and Peter follows at a distance. The powers appear to have won. They have captured Jesus, and all of his followers have gone astray. The crowd mentality has shifted. I want Jesus to walk with me. We want Jesus to walk with us. But do we always want to walk with Jesus? Or like Peter, do we follow at a safe distance? Many in our world today, and many at the time, thought that this story, this God, this Jesus, was pure foolishness. How ridiculous is it to believe in a God who sent a son to die? What kind of all-powerful God is that? The very idea of a king, of a God like this, is contrary to the structures and the institutions that we have put in place. They're built on strength. They're built on power. They're built on dominance. But surely they cannot be built on vulnerability. It doesn't make sense. In our world, following Jesus has become increasingly less popular. When our society condemns Christianity, do we abandon the procession to the cross? And like the disciples and Peter, do we follow Jesus at a safe distance, not wanting to be too far out of reach, but also not wanting to be seen as fanatics? Sometimes Christianity gets a bad rap, and that's because the fanatics put it there, and we don't want to be that. I know that I am guilty of this too. Do we abandon the procession to the cross and instead join the procession to condemn? I want Jesus to walk with me. We claim that we want Jesus to walk with us, but then the crowd mentality shifts. We often would rather join the crowd than stand alone. I think that there are a couple of different questions that become important for who we are as Christian people. What causes us to commit to a life of faith in Jesus? What causes us to go with the crowds? At what point do we say that Jesus is simply asking too much? The life that we are called to in faith in Christ is not easy. It demands of all of us that we actively serve, seek justice, and love all. Are we willing to sacrifice so that the world may come to know this love and this story of vulnerability and grace? I want Jesus to walk with me. We may not know the answers to these questions, but we do know by our faith that we need Jesus to walk, to process with us, to pull us out of the places where we doubt, where we join the crowds, where we are stuck in our humanness, where there is injustice in the world, where there is need of the hope of resurrection. The procession to the foot of the cross this week cannot be done by ourselves. We need the love, the grace, and the pure, unadulterated hope that our world can become the vision of a kingdom that God intended it to be. I want Jesus to walk with me. And it becomes, I need Jesus to walk with me. Through my trials, through my inability to break free of the crowd, through my struggle to believe fully and wholly that this is a gift for all and not just for some, I need Jesus to walk with me, so that we might have the strength and the courage to bear witness to the cross as boldly as we are called to do. And with this strength, we process to the cross and into our world to usher the love that God has given to us. This week, we continue the journey, this procession to the cross. Facing it in our doubt and insecurity together, we ask Jesus to walk with us. Lord, I need Jesus to walk